same way that everybody has addictive tendencies, but to make a healthy society, you want to help people overcome addictive tendencies, not push on them and make them worse. And yet, if I'm a business and let's say I have a fiduciary responsibility to my shareholders to maximize profit, if I'm a public business, right? Then I maximize the value of my business by increasing the total addressable market and increasing the lifetime value per customer. And I increase the total addressable market by trying to make products or services that are relevant to everybody, to increasingly more people. And I increase the lifetime value of a customer by having them want to keep coming back to whatever the thing that I do is. And there's no way to do that better than addiction. And so the supply side motive benefits from addiction. The society, and this is where we understand that war makes GDP go up, right? Military spending makes GDP go up. Sick people spending a lot of money on medical care in pharma industry makes GDP go up. GDP is a very, very bad indicator for well-being because total amount of money flowing through an economy has a lot to do with things that are managing bad problems. So the problems actually make it go up. But the demand side does not have the coordination that the supply side has, because you and me and all Google users aren't getting together and coordinating as effectively as Google is with itself. So even though we're the same, like the total amount of attention or money flowing from demand into supply is the same in aggregate, the demand is disaggregated and the supply is coordinated, right? So you have an asymmetric warfare. So then the supply side says, I can manufacture demand. This was where theory of markets started to break. This was one of the key places where theory of markets started to break, because theory of markets was people want real shit that will improve the quality of their life, and they'll make rational decisions between the various products or services available. So the fact that people want something, they're willing to pay something for it, creates an evolutionary niche for others to try to create supply, and the best product or service at the best price will win. Well, obviously, all the behavioral econ stuff that shows we don't make rational choices, particularly when we have the ability to have emotionally manipulative advertising that's as effective as it is, that hacks status desires. If I don't have that thing, I'm not part of the trend, the in-group, or whatever. That now get to be AI optimized, split tested AI optimized, that mostly is a drive dissatisfaction to then give them a hit that they got something. But also the supply side started to recognize I can make people want shit they never wanted. And I can manufacture demand. And so manufactured demand now broke the idea that the market is actually a collective intelligence system of things that are actually meaningful to increase quality of people's lives. And the best manufactured demand is addiction, of course. And the supply side has much more ability to coordinate that motive. That's the AI in employment of it, compared to the people who don't even know that there's a rivalrous game for their own attention happening.
And also there's the problem, because listen, I mean, we're having this conversation about, Facebook Global and the challenges that it's actually perpetrating upon our society and the ills of it. But I still have an Instagram account, and I put a lot of beautiful ideas and things, and I reach a lot of people, and I get dozens of messages every day. Thank you, Aubrey, for what you put out. This really means a lot to me. And so I'm in one level participating, because that is the place. This has now become the medium by which I can express ideas that are helpful, so that it becomes this cost-benefit analysis. I'm contributing to something that is overall detrimental to the society. But if I don't contribute, then I lose my ability to share my gift, which is actually contributing positively to society. So they have me in a bind, and they have many, many people in a bind in that way, because of they've just gotten so much momentum, and there's really nothing that can compete with it.
When we developed antitrust law in the US, and many countries were developing antitrust law to make sure that, and monopoly laws, it was a pre-digital world, and we didn't have Metcalfe network type dynamics. And so those weren't factored into the way that we thought about it. Something only became a monopoly typically if they did some work to very actively, in criminal ways, suppress competition, and then even get government support for how they did that thing. But in network dynamics, where you have a Metcalfe law type process, meaning that the value of the network is proportional to the number of people on it. So as more people join, it becomes more valuable. Then once you get above a certain escape velocity, it's more people are going to be joining that thing relative to any other thing, because as more people join it, it continues to become a stronger attractor. And so you end up getting monopolies that are not a government monopoly of the previous type, but it is a nothing else is going to emerge. You have a power law distribution of within a domain, there's Amazon, and then there's every other marketplace, right? There's Facebook, and then there's all the other kind of social media. There's YouTube, and then there's all the other video channels. You end up getting that kind of power law distribution within those verticals. And so that is functionally a monopoly. It's a monopoly that is bigger than countries. Countries have a very hard time trying to regulate something like that because countries move very slow relative to the speed of corporations, especially once the countries have decayed as much as ours have. And the corporations have the money to keep paying for lobbying and lawyers that are very effective. And when it's this kind of thing and affecting public opinion in a way that would be critical to the basis of changing law itself, right? So it becomes obligate. Once it becomes large enough where if you choose not to participate with it, you're really not participating in society. It became an obligate thing. And so now we have to say, okay, that's very powerful. Is there a way that it is bound to the good of society? Or is it just unchecked power? And what would check that power? Anytime a new power comes, it's really powerful. We have to say, does it differentially serve some over others? Is it tending to the good of the whole? If it isn't, how do we check it? And that's a core question with all of the exponential technologies is they make rapidly more power and much faster than any previous technology did that. And they are not being developed mostly for kind of comprehensive commons integrity as their basis.